All right, let's do it live on a gorgeous Thursday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Bo. He is the great Z. It's good to see you.
Great to see you, dude.
Look at it out there. It's gorgeous.
Well, how about it?
Kids were watching the Rose Bowl game last night, and they said, God, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. And it occurred to me that
Pasadena.
it occurred to me that the Rose Bowl was that for me as a kid. You grew up in Northern California, so you saw the sun a lot. I saw the sun a lot in Montana, but it was cold. And I imagine for people around here, when you would see the Rose Bowl, you'd see this sun-kissed vista, and you'd see the sun setting over the San Gabriels and these palm trees that somehow are big enough that they go over the top of the stadium, and this grass that looks like the fairway at Augusta National. You say, my God, like what a window into heaven that is.
Yeah.
And then it occurs to you that the reason it always looks like that is because it's always like that there.
Yeah.
It's always 70 and sunny.
That's
in
what
Pasadena.
it is. That's the deal.
That's in the brochure.
That's the deal. Yeah.
Yeah. Gorgeous.
That's what
Gorgeous.
you sign up for. It's why people move out there. It's why people sometimes move out there and they don't come back because it's all you could possibly want.
Yeah. That was solid. Did you have a good New Year's?
Great New Year's. Yeah.
Get to New Year's Eve. How'd you do? Did you get to midnight?
Made it till midnight. No problem. Yeah. Actually, I was up well past 1 because Art and Drea had a little party at the house, so that was good.
Whoa.
I chaperoned that. Very, very good.
Was
Kudos
this the first
to them.
one of
Very
these?
proud of
Was
them.
this the first?
Yeah, of this kind of thing.
Like
yeah.
having a little teenage
She's had a
party?
couple get-togethers at the crib before. This one was, New Year's, first New Year's one. But yeah,
Co-ed?
yeah, Easy was there.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
And what was your? How were you?
Listen, first of all, they're great
Remarkable
kids.
children.
Yeah, they're very respectful and all that. So no worries on that front. It was good. Everybody had a great time. They made pizzas, homemade pizzas. I bought some dough for them, and then that was one of their little activities. Made a bolognese on the side so they could
lovely.
indulge in that. Got some crumble cookies. Miss K made some brownies. So it was great. Great.
What
great
was
night.
their activity of choice? They watching movies? What was
we were upstairs. They did the pizzas and they played some pool, and then they went in the basement and watched TV and hung out and whatever.
That's a win.
It was great. Yeah, great time. They had some poppers they shot off at midnight, so
nice.
they were. It was great. And then I had to go pick up El Boods from his buddy's house. His buddy had a get together, which was a nice 35 minutes away. When the weather started to get not so nice at 12:30 in the morning. So, but it was great. And then yesterday watched the games. Went over my buddy Dizzio's house. Beating. I called it. College Football Nate really. This persona has
pretty locked in.
Kind of like crazy. So I just feel totally dialed into the college experience, especially with the Buckeyes. Like, and again, not a rocket scientist, not saying College Football Nate was, going in places that nobody else's mind had gone. But I did drop on the party that I was at last night that had I been the quarterback for the Buckeyes in the game against Michigan that we would have won.
Yeah.
And they thought that was a little bit absurd. And then I said, here's my reasoning.
Yeah.
When they send the play call in and it's like run, and I'm just like, no, shotgun, I'm throwing it to Jeremiah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do that every single play. And as long as I wasn't bench, if I was like bench proof for not following the program,
not listening,
we would have won.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. He's unbelievable.
So last year, we do the Ohio State now. It's the most fun of all the thing we're going to talk about. This would have been National Signing Day in December. So for those who don't follow college football closely, there's 2 signing days. There's a December 1 and February 1. And on the national – look at this guy. He's happy.
Hey, there he is. The Buckeyes. OH, yes.
That's right.
He loves
He's got
it.
Dewan's got it.
Love it. Yeah.
He's very proud.
It's good to see him
walk
around. Yeah.
So on National Signing Day, they always have a press conference. So the one in December, they were waiting on the press conference is going, but they have not yet got the fax in because in those they still have to get a physical fax saying he is signed on the line, which is dotted. So Ryan Day's doing a press conference at Ohio State, and Jerry Emig, longtime PR guy down there, is to his right, and they're saying, well, it looks. One of the reporters says it looks like you've gotten Jeremiah, and he looks over at Jerry and he goes, "Is it in?" And Jerry goes, "It's in," and he crumbles, like he loses his knees, and he's like, "Oh, thank God." And I thought, good Lord, like they're signing the number one of the top 5 classes. Like, come on, one guy, what are we doing? So then we fast forward to spring ball.
Yeah, he dominated.
My buddies of mine on that staff were like, hey, he's everything that you hear about him. And in the spring game on television, remember Ryan Day said, "Hey, watch this."
Yeah.
And he was upset that Will Howard couldn't hit him on the fade. He missed it, and they tried doing it twice, and he missed it. So then I'm like, okay, all right. So then I call a buddy of mine who's been around South Florida. I've known him for 2 decades, and I covered him. He's been around South Florida recruiting for 40 years. And he goes, "I'm going to tell you what. He's the best receiver ever out of South Florida." I said, "Come on, dude. What are we talking about? Like, there's a lot of talent." He's like, "No, I'm serious. He's the best wide receiver to ever come out of South Florida." And he goes, I mean this. He is Julio Jones.
So you texted me that yesterday. They had a graphic that showed that. And he is Julio Jones who can run routes like Justin Jefferson. Because Julio was a very violent route runner.
Yeah, right.
The one where he made it look like he was running, where they had him in the slot against a single high, and he made it look like he was going to the left corner and ended up breaking it back to the right corner, was open by 40 yards.
Yeah.
Julio doesn't run that route that way. And Julio Jones is
He's a gold jacket.
He couldn't be a bigger fan of his. But he is Julio's size, but runs like Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Because the smoothness of his transitions, all of it looks very effortless. Julio, when you'd watch him run, he would be like ripping the ground. He's such power in his cuts and all that. This is just like butter. He's unreal.
They ran.
He'd be the number 1 pick in this draft if you had a quarterback.
If it was New England, I agree with you. It would be a no-brainer.
No-brainer.
I mean, they ran a jet sweep with him.
You can do whatever. You can do whatever you want.
Julio doesn't run jet sweeps.
No, you can do whatever you want.
They run. Yeah.
He's unbelievable.
He is. Yeah. It's there are a great many of Ohio State teams through the years that have lost late inexplicably. The 90s were built on this. 2015 is another example of this. There are teams that lose inexplicably, and then the season is over. And 1 year makes all the difference in the world, because if this was a year ago and they would have lost that Michigan game, it's the worst loss in the history of Ohio State in the Ohio State-Michigan game. It's very possible that they would have found a way to move on from this coaching staff. But this coaching staff got a lifeline. The lifeline was a 12-team playoff. I felt bad for Oregon. The 1 seed having to play an 8 like that is absurd, while Penn State gets to play SMU and Boise State. Nonsensical.
They would have been better off not being the 1 seed.
Of course.
The 1 seed was the worst draw.
Worst draw you could be.
Yeah.
It's the worst draw you could be, that you were going to get either Ohio State or a powerhouse out of the SEC is what you were going to get. And they happened to get Ohio State, and they were a buzzsaw. I've been covering Ohio State since 2007. It's the best half of football I've ever seen. I talked to some people who have been around it for 40-plus years, say it's the best half of football they've ever seen. Really important not to minimize Oregon. Oregon was 13-0. They had 2 games this year where they were held under 30 all year. And this one was 41-21. It really wasn't even that close ever. It kind of was all of it.
34-0 with 2 seconds to go in the first half.
The defensive performance was otherworldly. They were around him all the time. Oh, yeah. They were at Dylan Gabriel's feet, batting balls down around him all the time. It was just a comprehensive beatdown.
I think it was a tough game.
Signature win for Ryan Day.
Absolutely. Tough game for Dylan Gabriel's draft stock as well, because there were a few plays where they had guys who had steps and he can't drive it. The ball would hang. The one they hit off of the Ohio State Buckeyes helmet, that should have been touchdown. So I don't think that was a great game for his draft stock, whatever that may have been.
Yeah, and I don't when you have adversity, there's a lot of ways you can go from it, and Ohio State bunkered in. And they have full belief, and they have full buy-in, and to play to schematically, because what they're doing schematically is elite, offense and defense. The play you're talking about on Jeremiah, where he looked like he was going left, then cutting back right, they motioned it over, and they get the corner on this side to cover the hook, which forces the linebacker to try and drop. He couldn't get there fast enough. Like schematically, they were really brilliant.
Because they had him in the near slot, and they got the right motion across to take this corner, so that when he went up the middle, he was basically unfettered one-on-one with a flat-footed safety. No chance.
No chance. So they're doing it schematically. So then to have the balance of being great game plans, but then also having a team that is hardened and sharpened and foaming at the mouth. They have both right now.
Yeah.
And it is hard to imagine anybody playing close with them, including Texas on Friday down in Dallas.
I just think they're College Football Nate says they're going to blow out everybody. I think they're going to. I think this is a cruise. Now there could be a game where it gets tight, but aren't they the favorites?
Yeah, they are. They're 6. The game last night opened at 4.5. I was texting with our mutual friends Tyvis and Jake Trotter last night, and when it was 34-0, I said I think it'll be Ohio State minus 6.5. It opened at 4.5. It's up to 6 right now. It might go 7.5 by the time we get to next week, which is crazy because Texas is a talent equates team. They are. They have the same type of
they've
talent.
got a little, but they're clutch. They clutched up hard on 4th down, and then
So that was on Quinn. Quinn optioned into that. He audibled into that call.
On the 4th down?
On the 4th down in overtime. They blew it as big as you can blow it to make it even into that.
Of course.
They should have been up 21-3.
Of course.
And they blew it. They were up 16 in the 4th and blew it. For some reason, they forgot how to tackle as it went along. That Scadoo kid's really remarkable how violently he runs, but come on.
All right. If I could,
Yeah.
I cannot.
Yeah.
But if I could, and there was a window where you could go and say, I believe that this player will be drafted by this team, I would go to the window and say that Scadaboo
Yep.
will be a Detroit Lion.
Feels like it, doesn't it?
Replaces David Montgomery in the violent role. You can't tell me that Dan Campbell and the Dorse aren't head over heels for this guy.
Spielman. All those guys.
Come on. Come on. Right?
It does
have you ever
feel
seen
like it. Yeah.
And by the way, how cool is that the Detroit Lions now have built a program and a culture? I mean, the notion that you would have said, oh, this he's going to be a Detroit Lion.
No.
That would have meant he was really good and they had the first pick, and that's why he was going to be a Detroit Lion. But now it's like, no, this guy he's what they
feels
want
like it.
In their program. There's no doubt.
Yeah, it does. Conversely, as I was watching Jack Sawyer, I thought somehow he's going to end up in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, he could be Detroit, but they've drafted Campbell, so probably not. But
yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Feels like
don't say that.
3-4 Pittsburgh is
Let's
what it
not
feels
do
like.
that.
Yeah, it was that game was incredible. Incredible theater on that. What was sucky about it was and this is just how powerful the Rose Bowl is. They would not budge that kick.
Insanity.
I don't know why they didn't push it 10 minutes, 15
Insanity.
minutes. It's because the Rose Bowl has so much power. The Rose Bowl's like, we're kicking at 5 o'clock.
Why?
Because they run things.
Especially when
it's a cartel.
Because of the tragedy in New Orleans, which we got to get it together. But there wasn't a night game. So any way that you could have extended that experience would not have been bad.
No, and so
I felt like they took forever to get that game going.
I'm watching both, and as Texas scores, Ewers on the audible hits him to make it 31-31. Then Texas gets the ball. I flip over to watch one play from Ohio State, Oregon. I actually missed both plays. So I missed Ohio State's opening play, which is they snuck out the tight end for G. Scott for a big gain. So I caught the end of that, and then I flipped it over, and it was they had already got
and
7.
They snuck out the tight end for a touchdown.
What happened? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Like, just push this 10
no.
minutes. Give us 10 minutes. It's fine. We move things all the time. Move it 10 minutes. Move it 15. This one's going to kick at 5:15. But the Rose Bowl is so powerful that they're like, we're kicking at 5.
I felt like, though, they made sure that game took forever. It took forever to get through the first quarter.
Of Texas?
No.
Ohio State.
Yeah, oh, my God. It was.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I mean, the game, what time did the game actually end?
9, right?
It was a 4-hour game.
Yeah. For a
They
game that was a blowout. They also
and halftime's 8 years.
Also with the Rose Bowl, because it's the Rose Bowl. You got to see both bands play for 20 minutes.
I was at my buddy Dizzio's, and I have a great story to tell. This is just halftime. Then I'll tell the story. We had like a sit-down meal of food.
Yeah.
And then went downstairs, and it was still halftime.
Yeah.
And somebody's like, no, it's not halftime. Did somebody pause it? I'm like, no. Like, this is
halftime.
Nuts. And then how do you keep your momentum? And then Oregon scored. I hate halftime. And then we got it. We got it together. Nash was down on it, but it ended up being fine. So at Grant, my buddy, lives across the street from a man named Gary.
Okay.
Gary needs his own show. Gary needs his whole program documented, all of it. So Gary shows up. Older guy, he's married. They live right across the street from Dizzio, and he is a character. Now, his last name is not what we call him. We call him Gary David because He is an older gentleman,
Sure.
white hair, same hairstyle as Larry, and he is
Gary David.
Gary David is
very good.
As soon as he's my favorite guy. Whenever I get to see him at Grant's, I've had the best time with him. Hung out with him a few times. He's unbelievable. Comes in a suede, what looks to me like a jacket that would be worn in Montana or on a reservation,
Like
with
a car coat or like
no,
fringes.
like suede with the fringe.
Oh, jeez.
And yeah,
like Buffalo Bill Cody.
yes,
Oh my gosh.
yes.
What a choice.
Yes. So he comes over, and somebody at one point asked him how he ended up with that. He goes, drunk shopping. It's like, sometimes things come to the house I don't know. He's like, but I'm wearing it. So he loves it. So Gary Davis in there.
Gorgeous coat. I'm
He
sure.
is so funny. Had a lot of opinions on what's going on with our team. Obviously, big Buckeye fan, was loving it, calling for every touchdown they were scoring. He was filling up again.
More.
Bourbon,
Oh,
shooters. Like, Gary.
time is life.
Gary David can't handle this. Yeah. He actually was telling a story that he was at a wedding recently, and people were like staring at him. And he was he was a hoops player back in the day.
Yeah.
Just Renaissance man. Awesome. And he's like, people are all staring at me. So I go up to him, I'm like, hey, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
And they say back to him that they didn't know that so-and-so, whoever was getting married, was related to Larry David. Like, that's how much Gary David.
There's that much. Oh my.
Larry.
GD.
I want him to have. I'd like to have him off season. I'd like to
tell you
bring him
what.
in here. I like to sit him down and let him just go.
I will bankroll if he wants to walk around with that hairstyle and that jacket as Buffalo Bill Cody. I'll walk around with that guy anywhere. I want to be a part of it.
You don't even need to bankroll it. Natural existence.
Yeah,
This
whatever we need to do to make it a program.
Yes,
I'm willing
I want
to make
him in
it happen.
that chair
Yeah.
right there. I want the full Gary David experience for the people.
It's awesome. It's fantastic. Yeah. So that's tough. I love the fringe. The fringe is great.
He's electric.
Yeah.
He's electric.
Yeah. That's very good. Very Ralph Lauren of
yes.
him to pull that off.
Yes.
So the college football, you had one classic game.
Sure.
Two that were kind of duds, and then, of course, we got one today at 4 o'clock between Georgia and Notre Dame. I was talking to Paul Feinbaum this morning, and it was crazy how fluid this whole situation was down there.
Okay.
So there was a moment yesterday where everything was on the table, including like moving the game out of New Orleans. There was talk of there still is talk about potentially finding a way to push back their game against Penn State because they play a week from today. The winner this afternoon plays a week from today. Penn State played Tuesday, and Paul was saying that there's a chance that they could even move that they're a possibility. It's remote that they could flop the Dallas one, which is Friday, Texas and Ohio State, and the Thursday one, and move that into Friday to try to make it a little bit easier for Notre Dame or Georgia. Tragedy aside, and I'm not minimizing it. Everyone is very well aware of it. But the other thing that was crazy down there is it went from like in the morning as a random act of violence to like, okay, now this is a terrorist scene.
IEDs everywhere. Yeah.
Now it's a terrorist scene. It's like the city of New Orleans is basically on lockdown for much of the morning and early afternoon. Eventually, they started to get it going. I saw today they're going to open up Bourbon Street at 3 o'clock, which is hard for me to wrap my head around.
Did you hear that was, and this is just a very sad but strange fact. So Bourbon Street is normally protected by those metal poles that were.
No. It's even more formidable than that. It's a hydraulic stop gate.
Yes.
That comes up. If it looks like if you've ever seen like somebody snowplow in the winter,
yeah.
It looks like the front of one of those. They pop up out of the street.
Then
like
there's
this.
nothing can get by them.
Nothing can get by them. No.
But they were being worked on.
So the way
they were not deployed, which is why the cop car was there trying to be the
Yes.
same deterrent, but obviously didn't have the width.
Did not have the width to get around it, which is crazy. I did see that. The one thing I didn't know is like because like during the day you can drive down Bourbon Street.
Yes, during the day.
But during the night they put those up.
Yep.
So it would still be up at 3 a.m. on New Year's Eve,
but it was
theoretically.
being worked on.
But it was being worked on. So all of the reality is that even if that was there, at that hour on New Year's Eve, you could have done damage on several streets in New Orleans. Might not have been 15, would have been whatever.
It's crazy.
Yeah, just horrific. Absolutely horrific. And one of those things where if someone really wants to do harm, there's not a whole lot you can do to prevent it. And that's a situation where it was tremendous harm. So just absolutely grueling situation down there. And so that game is going to go at 4. It was supposed
Why
to
did
go
they go
to
4?
the coaches. They said, we can't play at 8. Fly back to our towns at 4 o'clock in the morning and then play on a short week against a team that already has a 2-day head start from a rest standpoint. So at least let us play in the afternoon so we can get back to our campuses tonight so the winter can. So the two coaches, it was Freeman and Kirby Smart, went and said no. ESPN wanted to play it tonight, and Kirby Smart and Freeman said no. I talked to Pete Sampson of The Athletic, who covers Notre Dame. He said as much as well, that those two coaches got together and were like, no, we're done. We're going to play in the afternoon, and that's the way it's going to go. And they according to Feinbaum this morning, we're thinking, is there a way we can move the game? See, the game's in Miami. The Orange Bowl's in Miami on Thursday. And I don't know if you could – there was talk of flipping.
You can't even move it to Saturday because Saturday you're dealing with wild card.
Right, and you have the contractual obligations. So I don't know what would prevent them from just making the Orange Bowl game Friday and the Cotton Bowl game Thursday. And that way – because either way, Ohio State and Texas played the same day. So that's same rest. And either way, Penn State's going to have more rest than Georgia or Notre Dame. But it's one thing to have more rest, another thing to be short week. And that's what Notre Dame or Georgia will be against Penn State. 2 days less rest and a short week.
Today's Thursday, but wouldn't that be a normal Saturday to Saturday? You're saying Thursday they'd play again Thursday?
It would be, but it would be like if the team you're playing played
that,
Thursday to Saturday.
Yeah. But
so
they're going to have that advantage.
They would have the 2 day advantage. So right now
regardless.
It's Saturday to Saturday. So that's okay. No, it isn't at that. No. Oh, yes, it is. You're right. It's Saturday to Saturday. Yeah, that'd be like playing, yeah. So it's same week, same rest on that side of things. So, yeah, that I don't know. We'll see, but my guess is everything stays the same. Is where that all shakes out. From our side of things, they hit the practice field today at 12:30. Final injury report out shortly. 3 Pro Bowlers for the Browns: Myles Garrett, Jerry Jeudy, and Denzel Ward. Garrett and Jeudy voted as starters. How in the hell is Denzel Ward not a starter?
I don't know. I was trying to think do we know who the starters are? Do we have that listed out fully somewhere? My guess is Marlon Humphrey's a starter. He's got 6 picks. I don't know who the other starter would be.
How are there not 3 starting corners?
Surtain. I'm just trying to go off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. He feels
like he should be. He's leading league in passes defense.
Yeah, it feels to me like he should be a starter.
All right, so your corners: Derek Stingley Jr., Patrick Surtain, Marlon Humphrey, and then Denzel Ward.
Pretty good foursome in the AFC.
Yeah.
How about Jerry Jeudy, man?
Good for him.
Starting? That's awesome.
Yeah, great for him. I was thinking about it, in the AFC this year, it's got to be, 3 starting receivers, Gibbe?
I don't know.
Jamar Chase.
I just have the roster. The wide receivers are Chase, Jeudy, Nico Collins, Zay Flowers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Brian Thomas is not even on the Pro Bowl?
Nope.
And Zay Flowers is?
Yep.
All right, Zay Flowers, because I was just doing this. Zay Flowers this year, 73, 1,047, 4 touchdowns. Brian Thomas off the top of my head.
Right here.
I'll try to guess. 1,180 to 1,200
Nailed it, 1,179.
And 10 touchdowns.
Nailed it.
How's he not a Pro Bowler?
I don't know. I don't know how he would not be.
How's Zay Flowers a Pro Bowler? Nico had a stretch where he was the most dominant player in the league. He just never really kind of got back there after that hamstring.
Yeah, and he's only played 11.
He's only played 11.
So, you could have gone Thomas over either one.
Thomas
honestly.
should be over Zay Flowers.
But he should have been over Zay Flowers. Yeah, honestly, from a...
T. Higgins could be over Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is not a Pro Bowler.
No. It's funny, even Garrett Wilson is better than Zay Flowers, and Ladd McConkey's better than Zay Flowers statistically.
Brian Thomas is on another level.
He is on another level. Yeah.
Brian Thomas has one of the great seasons.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. Yeah. Alternates for us: Batonio Bjorquez, Nick Chubb.
How
about that?
Respect.
Chief, JOK, and Wyatt Teller were selected as alternates. So there you go on that. The Ravens topped the list, 9 players named as selections. The Lions had 7, Vikings and Eagles with 6 each. Is this fan vote?
No, a third of it is fan vote. 2/3 is coaches, players, and front office, I believe.
Okay.
I think.
Local Pro Football Writers Association awards were announced yesterday. Miles won the Joe Thomas Award for the Player of the Year.
Yep.
And Joel Batonio won the Good Guy Award for his cooperation with the media and the way he carries himself in the community with his teammates. He's won this
5 times.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, I feel like
And
we do this
2 in
all
a
the
row.
time.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go.
He's the good guy.
He is. He's a very good guy.
It's great. Some
Good
would
man.
say. By the way, Browns have just sent out a press release. The Browns have executed a clause to solidify future purchase of land for new Huntington Bank Field enclosed stadium. Browns have completed the next part in the process toward building a new dome stadium in Brook Park, officially executing the clause and taking steps forward in the land purchase agreement. The 176-acre site in Brook Park will not only house the new Huntington Bank Field enclosed stadium, but also the adjacent mixed-use development. Here's what Haslam Sports Group Chief Operating Officer Dave Jenkins said in a statement, quote, "We've executed the clause and taken the necessary steps in our land purchase agreement with the current owners to solidify our future purchase of the 176-acre site in Brook Park for a new Huntington Bank Field enclosed stadium along with an adjacent mixed-use development. While work remains with our public partners on the project, this is a key step in our efforts to create a responsible, long-term stadium solution that delivers a world-class experience for our fans, attracts more large-scale events for our region, and positively impacts our local economy." I don't understand why this has become what it's become, and we've
Yeah,
seen
you do.
all the. I mean, I do, but
You do.
we're moving. It's 15 minutes away.
No.
This isn't going to Toronto.
I was telling folks 2 hours down 71 South, and I said this would be as if the Columbus Blue Jackets said we're building a new stadium in Worthington. Like you're still in Columbus. Like it's still,
Yeah,
we're not. You're not building it in Canton.
right.
So, yeah,
It's in Cuyahoga County still.
yeah. Well, we know why. I mean, honestly, we know why. But
I just think when you have somebody willing to make an investment that large into your region, it is a very, very good thing.
yep, it will be. Will
gonna
be
be
a
a
very,
great
very
thing.
good thing.
Some will say glorious.
I would. Those are your Hot Topics of the Day. Hot Topics of the Day presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. It is a matchup day here on the program. In addition to that, you're going to hear from your defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz. That is coming up next. We're off and running. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Boost your game day this season with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Place your first bet at $25 or more. You get $150 back in bonus bets. Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Time to head to the podium presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Here's defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz.
Considering the circumstances,
You guys are down.
you're going to have some young guys out there, Isaiah, Mike. Is this maybe the best situation for them to get kind of a true, going into the offseason evaluation when you're not facing the Ravens backups? They're going to have to defend against, a two-time MVP, Derrick Henry, all of that. You kind of look at that as, I don't want to say best case scenario, but in terms of big picture, long term.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I go with that because Isaiah's played a lot of football against a lot of people this year, and Mike has played when he's been healthy or not suspended, so he's been out. I mean, so it's not like this is just a continuation for them. It's not like, oh wow, this is an audition. We're going to do everything we can to win the game, and in spots, those guys have played good football for us this year. So they're going to have their work cut out for them. It's a really good running attack, and you have a quarterback component to it, and then you got to chase the most elusive quarterback in the NFL that can extend plays and also can throw on time. So there's a lot of challenges, and, not just Mike or Zay, but we need our whole defensive line and the whole coordinated coverage to be able to play well. Puts a lot of stress on your defense. If you're in zone coverage, then he can buy time, and then you're trying to plaster receivers that are running playgroundish routes, trying to get open. But then if you leave the quarterback alone, he can go rush for a first down or make a big play. We've seen that a lot too. And then if you're in man-to-man, a lot of times it gets empty, and he's got a lot of room. So we're going to have to be disciplined in our rushes. We're going to be disciplined in our coverage, and we're going to have to do a good job stopping the run because that's where it all starts, and keep Derrick Henry from going north-south.
Miles I think after last game, he spoke about the kind of the future of this defense and saying that it's clear that there's talent to work with. In terms of maybe the young talent, especially on the defensive line, have you left? Do you kind of leave this season thinking that you do have a young core that's ready to step into bigger roles and more full-time opportunities?
We're trying not to be so much in the evaluation mode right now. We respect this game too much, and we got a game to go out there and win. So we'll leave the evaluation stuff, till the end of the season and those kind of things. But I think we have seen some improvement from some guys. We talked about a couple, but Jawan Briggs has really been a improving player for us. Every time he's gone out, he's played better. He's been powerful. He's been active. He's assignment sound, and I think that's he started the year inactive practice squad and then moved up and had some rough spots early, but his arrow has definitely been up. And Sam Kamara sort of the same way, started off on the practice squad, has given us some good reps in there. So there's some good things from some young guys in there.
Hey Jim, this is Rodney McLeod's last game. So what does he mean? Has he meant to your defense, and how will he be missed?
Yeah, I mean, he's meant a lot to this organization, to the city. He's meant a lot to me personally. I've coached Rod 7 years now, 7 of his 13 or 14, whatever it's been for him. He's a guy that everybody in the locker room looks up to because he's a consummate pro, but he also backs that up with quality play on the field. I know, like, our safeties coaches have put together a lot of teach tape kind of things for off season and training camp and things like that. And Rod is at the middle of a lot of those because his technique is so good. And when you're 14 years in the league, it's father time, and eventually your physical skills are going to go decline a little bit. But Rod has really offset that by his competitiveness and his outstanding technique. He's been an inspiration for a lot of people, but he's been a great example for the young guys on our team. And, we owe it to Rod to be able to come out and make his last game a successful one, come out with a win. That would be a big thing for us to win on the road at Baltimore.
It's easy to look at, I know we might not get to talk to you anymore, but last year the defense was at the top. Kevin talked about that turnover ratio, and they still give up 32 turnovers, but the defense hasn't had them taken away. I know you stress it, but does that give hope that, the ball doesn't always bounce that way? You're not that far off.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. I think that statistically the fumbles lost for an offense has a tendency to get, lack of a better term, random. It can go high, it can go low. I'd like to come down with a few more interceptions, and that's a combination of rush and coverage. You get good pressure, and the quarterback goes off his back foot, and balls sail, and we've had a chance to make it. Like the first game we played these guys, we had the ball in our hands, I think 4 times in that game, and we came down with 0 of them. We still won the game, but we came down with none, and our guys are trying really hard. But obviously turnovers are the lifeblood of your team, offensively and defensively, and we certainly haven't done enough of that this year, and that'll be a big point of emphasis. It's always a point of emphasis, but it'll be a big point of emphasis from personnel acquisition, scheme, and also technique.
Last year, Miles won Defensive Player of the Year. This year, he's tied for the league lead in sacks with the same number he had last year. How would you compare the 2 seasons that you've had?
Yeah, our team was better last year, but it's hard to say that Miles isn't better this year. He's leading the NFL in sacks, or tied. He's leading the league in tackles for losses. And you guys know, like with me, it's like, hey, you sacked a guy for 4 yards, or you get a tackle for a loss for 4 yards. As a coach, it's 2nd and 14, right? So I don't look at those a lot different, but leading the league in both of those categories, and sees more double teams than anybody in the league. They don't just double him on 3rd down. And, part of having, that is heavy as the head that wears the crown. They know he wears number 95. You see guys identify wherever he lines up. We move him all over the place, but, he's pretty easy to find. And he fights through doubles, not just on 3rd down, but 1st and 2nd down also. And, I think I've said this before, but it reminds me a lot of when I had Calvin Johnson in 2012 in Detroit, and Calvin set the all-time single-season receiving record. And we had a bunch of injuries. We couldn't run the ball. We'd had some injuries at wide out. Didn't have enough other guys. He faced doubles every single time. Never got one-on-ones, and he was able to set the all-time receiving record. Still stands. In my mind, Miles' season is a little bit like that. We haven't had a chance to rush a lot. We haven't had a lead a lot of times, and a lot of times those sacks and turnovers in that regard come when you do have a lead and the offense has to be risky, or they have to try to make a throw, or they have to throw more than they want to. They get predictable. And, it's just, where we've been this year, we haven't had a lot of those opportunities for Miles or our other guys to be able to rush. So across his metrics have been better or the same as last year when he won Player of the Year. It's just that the team hasn't, been as successful around him. But I think that, sometimes, when you have a season like we've had, you can lose individual accomplishment. He also did it with, had fighting some injuries early in the season too. So he's been able to stay focused. It's hard. Like when you go out and you get doubled every single play, but he still battles, and he's still found a way to be successful, still has a high win percentage, still has the pressures, still has a really good pressure rate and sacks. And, I've been really proud of his effort this year.
Jr. What do you feel like the upside is for him in terms of kind of bouncing back from what seems to be a little bit of a down season for him?
Yeah, the biggest thing has just been finishing at the ball. there's a lot of metrics that his coverage has been just as tight this year as last year, but there's a little better finish at the ball, so that's got to be a point of emphasis. I would say this about MJ is he has really, really improved this year as a tackler, particularly over the last few games. And that was a big point of emphasis. And he's a tall guy that sometimes it's hard for those guys. It's, you know, your high center of gravity, tall and long. It's hard in the open field, but I've been really impressed. Number one, with his commitment to doing it and to working at it, and also, you know, putting it on film the way that he has. And so he's found a way to improve part of his game. And like I said, you know, some of it also is just, you know, finishing at the ball. And, you know, some of it can also be, you know, a little bit what I talked about before with offenses don't really feel the need to be, you know, to tempt too many throws just from, you know, the way the season has gone or the way the scores in the games have been. So all those things affect the corner. They affect your interceptions and your sacks and things like that. You know, so, but I have been proud of his commitment and his improvement in the tackling game, because to be a complete corner, you need to be able to do those things. And, yeah.
Some of the things that Rodney McLeod brings to the locker room, I know he's not alone in that. As a coach, how much have you leaned on the players that are leading their respective position groups through, you know, the ups and downs of this season?
Yeah, you know, coaches have a role in your team, and you know, I've said this as part of my thing for years, and I think I was proud when Rodney said the same thing, because it's something that I preach. But I've been around a lot of really good teams that were coach-led leadership. I've never been around a great team that wasn't player-led leadership, and Rodney just exemplifies that. But we've gotten some, you know, really good leadership from some other guys too. You know, I'd point to Jordan Hicks that way, Dalvin Tomlinson, you know, those player-led leaders that have been around, that have seen highs and lows in this league. They know how to be resilient. You know, they've found a way to be productive in multiple schemes. Those guys are incredible resources for young guys, and you know, they're valuable members of a franchise, and valuable to their teammates.
He's a hard grader, but Jordan Hicks always gets good grades from him. How well has Jordan played for you this year?
Yeah, I mean, that's another one that's sort of fallen in the wayside. You know, he's just always in the right spot. The play that he made on Snoop last week, when he triggered on the scramble, knocked the stiff arm down, you know, forced him to throw it away. That's another teach tape kind of play. That's exactly the way you want it done. His angle, his technique, everything. He's had to play a couple different positions just because of the injuries that we've had. You know, he started off as the full-time Mike, but then when we lost Jeremiah, he sort of moved into Jeremiah's role a little bit more on first and second down, and you know, but still had to play to Mike at different times. Yeah, he's certainly been, you know, a good player for us, and we look forward to him doing a lot more for us too.
Gale came back next year.
I'll leave that to Kevin and AB. Like, it's never my thing to talk about who's coming back or even to talk about injuries. So I'll just leave that there. Okay. All right, guys. Hey, Happy New Year. Also, you know, I know this has been a tough year for the Browns. It's been a tough year for you guys and everything else. And part of your job is, you know, you have to be critical at times, and you have to ask some tough questions. But you guys have always managed to do that with respect and professionalism, and I really appreciate that. I hope that I've done the same for you guys. So, Happy New Year.
Oh, I love that from Jim at the end. Hey, Browns fans, this month's winner of the local business platform presented by Minutemen is the Smooth Rider Smoothie. Smooth Rider Smoothie, Northeast Ohio's premier smoothie option, providing a healthy choice for those on the move. Visit their brick-and-mortar location in Ohio City today to learn more. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/community/local business platform. We anticipate Kevin Stefanski live at the podium coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Elk and Elk, serious lawyer, serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. We anticipate Coach Stefanski being live at the podium here momentarily. We do have your inactives and your statuses for the game on Saturday. Obo Okoronkwo questionable, Dalvin Tomlinson questionable, Blake Whiteheart questionable, Jameis Winston questionable, Woods questionable as well. Your out list has grown. Jerome Ford is out, Jordan Hicks is out, the Chief is out, Pierre Strong is out, and Denzel Ward is out. Like the fourth preseason game.
Yeah, not great. Not great. Had a feeling it was probably trending that way given what yesterday's practice was, and I mean, I don't know.
Look, you're playing out the string,
it's
dude.
week,
I mean, it's what it is. It's week 18. It's a 17-game season. There are the thing that's, and we'll do this when we do guess the scores with Z. Like, there are 3 games or 4 that have a great deal of importance in terms of for both teams. There are a handful of games that have a great deal of importance for one team. Unfortunately for us, we just happen to be involved in one of them, and we're not the team.
Yeah, I mean, it's either important or it is really, really not important. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, the Ravens, their backup, their number 2 running back is the only guy that didn't practice today.
Yeah, I mean they're trying to win a division.
Yeah, they're full go.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is, and we'll kick it off at 4:30.
I really don't understand why we're not playing the same time as Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. It's a tremendous disadvantage. It'd be a tremendous advantage for Cincinnati because if Baltimore is an 17.5 by the time you get this injury report, it might be 20.5 favored over us. You're talking 3 scores. Cincinnati's still playing for something. If Baltimore beats us as is expected, Pittsburgh is playing for nothing at that point.
Yeah.
So Mike Tomlin has said all week, hey, we're going to approach it. We need to see, for lack of a better term, the ball go through the uprights. We haven't had a win in a while. We need to get one. But at the same time, like, he can't win the division if Baltimore beats us tomorrow.
It doesn't.
So I don't know why they're not at the same time.
I think the NFL screwed this up. I mean, they should have. I would have played at least. I don't even know. I mean, I get that they're. I get that you want Vikings Lions on Sunday Night Football, but I feel like that might have been a better option.
The only thing for Pittsburgh, we'll go to the podium. There's one caveat to Pittsburgh. Here's Coach Stefanski at the podium.
You guys are done.
Good, crisp day out there. Got some work in, and then we're getting on that airplane tomorrow. Play a good team, a division opponent that we know well. We're excited about the opportunity to go up against them. We're looking forward to the opportunity to compete. So put some finishing touches with some meetings the next few days, and then we'll be playing Saturday afternoon. Looking forward to it. But with that, I'll take any questions.
Who will be your starting quarterback?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to announce it right this minute. I want to talk to those guys about the plan, and then I'll let you guys know.
Do you still plan to use both?
I do.
Equipment?
Is that something that you will be informing them of, like today, or you
Yeah.
take it up to?
Today.
Kevin, it looked like Dalvin walked off yesterday during practice, but he avoided anything major there?
Yeah, I'd say avoided major. Yeah.
How did it go this week with both Bailey and DTR rotating?
Good. There's a limited number of reps to get guys ready, and that's just the nature of the beast. Wanted to see both of those guys with the first group and see how they operate and those type of things. The story or the nature of backup quarterback play is you have to be ready to roll, whether you know you're starting, don't know you're starting. You could play number 1 of the game. Somebody needs a shoelace. You got to go in there. So you got to always be ready at that position. That's just part of that. It's dealing with uncertainty. So I thought both guys handled that part really well. I know, like anybody, you'd love to know what the exact plan is, but that's life in the big city.
Kevin, with Denzel missing this game, so his season done, and what did you see from him this year? What has he meant to this defense?
Yeah, obviously disappointed with this injury, but can't take away from how well he's played this season. Teams don't often throw his way. When they do, it's not oftentimes successful. He's just got that innate ability to defend the other team's best guy typically. So really proud of how he played. I think there's always room to improve. I think Denzel would tell you that there's always room to improve, but played at a really high level.
How serious is
with David, just with his season being over now, just all the injuries he had to battle through this year, how unfortunate was that considering the year he had in 2023?
Right. Yeah, I think he's always looking to build on some really high moments there. So part of that is just getting healthy and being able to do it.
How serious is Denzel's injury, Kevin?
Yeah, serious enough to keep him out of this one, but for the long term, I think he'll be okay.
I know you said the other day, Kevin, that if guys are healthy, that they would play. But with the long list of the questionable guys, are you more inclined to sit them out Saturday?
I wouldn't say it that way. I think if the questionable guys are healthy enough to play, they'll play.
Along those lines, will guys play a full snap load? Will you kind of mix it up? How do you plan to approach?
We have a normal rotation plan for a lot of the guys, but we'll see how it goes.
This is Jerry Judy's first Pro Bowl. Can you just reflect on the season he had for you?
Yeah, I'm excited for him to finish strong. I think he's proven to be the guy we thought he was when AB went out and acquired him. He's a very, very good separator, very intelligent, which I knew that coming into this, and that has allowed us to move him around the formation, has made a lot of big plays for this football team in a variety of ways. I think Jerry's a really versatile player.
If Dalvin doesn't play, it feels like you could have two rookies getting a ton of time, right, in Mike and Juwan. How have you seen those two guys lately, and what kind of challenge is it facing such a big-time offense?
Sure, it's a challenge in of itself, just going up against a very good offense. But the young guys, we have confidence in them. I think they continue to get better. You mentioned Juwan and Mike. I think those are two young players that are just getting better with every single rep.
Kevin, along those lines, a lot of times you see a situation like that where, one team's at least got playoff, they'll rest their starters. Meanwhile, you're playing some young guys. Is this maybe best case scenario in terms of big picture seeing, maybe adding another really quality film for those guys against a quality opponent?
I think all those reps matter. I really believe that. With some young guys, sometimes they get more reps in the middle of the year or towards the end of the year due to injury, an opportunity comes up, or they carve themselves a role. But every one of these reps matters.
Miles still has a chance to get the sack title, considering he's tied for the lead. He got Defensive Player of the Year last year. To get that for the first time in his career, what would it mean, and how do those individual accolades help?
To get, what was that one more time?
The sack title.
Yeah, I mean, you guys would have to help me, because if he won the award last year, playing it the way he played last year, I don't see how he's not the best defensive player in the game this year. And, it depends to whatever metric you want to measure that by. If you want to go with the eye test, I think everybody would agree. I think if you want to go with the advanced metrics and look at the pressure numbers and the times that he's getting double teamed and slides are going his way, that's the piece to me that I think is so impressive and remarkable, is he's doing all this with getting all of the attention from the other team. It's like a degree of difficulty that he's able to lead the league in sacks and tackles for loss with all that attention. It should be impossible. So that just speaks to the caliber he's playing at. I don't have a vote in it, but I don't see how he's not the best defensive player in the National Football League again.
Kevin, you ended up, I know you're asked about Jerry making Pro Bowl, but you ended up with 3 guys on a Pro Bowl, 6 different alternates as well. I guess what's to say about the individual players you have, and seems kind of tough to kind of square that with the lack of team success.
Well, I think, first of all, when it comes to individual success, we want that for all of our guys. It's a great reflection on their teammates when you get individual success. Every single one of those guys would tell you that's not the most important thing. That they understand that winning, the team comes first, and I know they would all trade that for success as a team.
Good.
Okay, we're not done. Put that recorder down, Jeff. So one of your
colleagues here is retiring after 26 years at the AP covering the Browns. So I just want to acknowledge Mr. Tom Withers, who's, the best in the biz, so professional. Nobody can beat him when it comes to his encyclopedia. How do you say it, American? Encyclopedic knowledge of music and sports. But you do it the right way. I appreciate you. I know this group appreciates you. So let's hear it from Mr. Tom Withers, guys. Come on up, Tom. Is this going to fit, Tom?
All right, well done out of Coach on that, and of course, very worthy of Tom. Many years, 2.5 decades plus on the beat with the Associated Press. All right, coming up next, we'll do a little bit of Guess the Scores with Dr. Z. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. The new Rumpke Recycling Resource Center helps feed the circular economy by supplying Ohio companies and others in the Midwest with material they need to put what you place in your bins to good use. To learn more about the facility and how you can recycle more, visit rumpke.com today. Are you ready for this? I mean, this is week 18. Guess the scores.
No. And what are we at?
I think I'm going to just say this. I'm going to say this. We'll do scores tomorrow. I really don't think this week should count. If we
have a losing record here, I got. Let me.
If we have it good, if we win and have a winning record, scores tomorrow. Dumb luck.
We're set up great though. We're in a great.
I understand, but there's no way of knowing who's going to try or not.
Here's what I think. I think this week, if I'm able to win somehow and guess the scores, if I'm able to win this week, it should count for 4 weeks, which would give me a winning record of 11-10. And if I lose, I have a losing record anyway. Don't care.
Done.
Don't care one bit.
Done. You ready?
No. Hold on. I need to at least have one in my. Okay, good. All right.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Start Saturday with us. Browns at Ravens.
I believe it's up to 19 now.
That is correct. The live number is correct. 19. It was 17.5 this morning. On the sheet that I got from Gibbe and the G-Man, it was 18. But I think because of our injury status and just kind of what's happening.
So I was obviously not here. What has been announced?
No Chief, no Pierre, no Hicks, no Denzel, no Ford, and then a handful of
John
questions.
Kelly.
Yeah.
K-E-L-L-Y is going to play.
K-E-L-L-Y.
We were going through it. I said it's a fourth preseason game.
The score is now 19.5.
Yeah.
Boy.
It's
going
to be 21.5 by Saturday.
Did we
guess who they're not playing?
Nobody.
They're all playing.
They're all playing.
Yeah,
they need to win.
They had to bury him.
What about, did he say anything about the quarterback situation?
For us?
Yeah, he
wouldn't commit.
He's talking to the quarterbacks this afternoon. They'll have an announcement later today. What are you looking at me like that for?
Okay. Want to know.
What'd I do?
All right, good job.
No, you didn't do anything. But
Oh.
that means there could be potentially an addendum needed to.
Great.
Yeah. This is got to do it. Is it Carmen back home in the home office? I believe.
Yes.
Could we get a little NFL traveling music of some sort?
Yes, thank you. This is a big moment for me. This
big
is
moment.
A great comeback.
Off to 1-0. There you go, baby. All right, here you go. Bengals at Steelers. Bengals at Steelers. Matters for both. Cincinnati, slimmest of playoff hopes, would need to be alive. A win is minimum requirement. You got guys chasing Triple Crown and Jamar Chase. You got Burrow trying to win the passing title, all of those things, individual things. For Pittsburgh, they will know by the time they kick if they can win the division or not.
But they still have seeding.
And they need to hold off the Chargers.
You want to be in the 5.
You want to be the 5. So I think both teams will play in this one.
You do not want to be the 6.
You do not want to be, because then you're playing Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bengals minus 2.5.
Bengals minus 1.5. Bengals minus 1.
That's pretty good. You have the Bengals side of it on the road.
You did, yeah.
All right.
All right. On to the Sunday slate. God bless you on this. Carolina at Atlanta.
Falcons minus 6.5.
Falcons minus 7.5.
Damn it.
Commies at Cowboys. Commies at Cowboys.
Commies minus 5.5.
Nailed it. Commies minus 5.
Okay, 2-2.
Bears at Packers. Bears at Packers.
Packers minus 8.
Packers minus 10. Wow. Which is robust. Wow. Texans at Titans. Texans at Titans.
Texans not expected to play anybody?
I would say that by the look of this, yes.
Titans minus 3.
Titans minus 1.
Okay.
The other thing to watch for, we're 3-13. Titans are 3-13.
Yep.
Patriots are 3-13.
Yep.
And the G-Men are 3-13. So one of those 4 teams is going to pick number 1 overall. This is a 2-quarterback draft at the top with Ward and Shador. Obviously, the Patriots don't need a quarterback. Drake May, by the way, is playing and is going to go.
Good.
So they're going to be
Alex Van Pelt today said our expectation is we're playing to win on Sunday.
Yeah, and because they're going to now if they end up, and they have all the tiebreakers, so if they end up number 1 overall, they could still get their guy if they want to draft Travis Hunter, and they could trade out of 1 and give it to a quarterback and pick up a pick.
Yes.
Or they could just sit at 3 or whatever and pick it anyway. So something to watch there. All right, so we're on to Jaguars at Colts. Jaguars at Colts. I don't even know. Is this Anthony Richardson? Is it Flacco? Who
Colts
cares?
minus 3.5.
Colts minus 5.
No, we're not going to win.
No, this is crazy. Bills at Patriots. Bills at Patriots.
Patriots minus 1.5.
So it's Bills minus 2.5. So does that mean is Allen not playing? Obviously,
he's starting. I think.
Okay, so they're thinking it'll be like quick and then out.
I think he's starting to and then he's going to hand the football off and leave.
So play one series, then he's out. All right. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you can't. This is not the week to be messing around with this stuff, kids. Yeah. Giants at Eagles.
No, this is a stay. You
stay
don't
home.
know.
Stay home.
Yeah,
just don't worry about it.
If you want to, Bengals Steelers is a game that's got implications.
You could have a read on.
Yes, it's a real football game.
There's several games where there's like one team that's trying. There aren't many where 2 are trying.
Yes.
Bengals and Steelers is one of them. There's another one coming later.
Giants
at Eagles. Eagles playing nobody. Very obvious by the line.
Giants minus 3.
I shouldn't have said very obvious by the line. I think it still speaks to how pathetic the G-men are. It's Eagles minus 2.5.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're playing Pickett or the other kid.
What did they
We know
said?
Saquon isn't playing.
Saquon is not.
He's not. He's done.
Nor he should be.
He reached his number on 35 less carries than Eric Dickerson. So while the game number, Dickerson did it in 16, Saquon in 16, it's 35 less carries.
Okay.
So there's some validity
something
to that.
there.
Yeah. Saints at Bucks. After you predict this one, I want you to tell me what is the number that would make you comfortable to pick New Orleans. And the Bucks are clearly trying.
Bucks minus 17.
It's Bucks minus 13.5. I would have said
20.
So I said 21.5.
20.
21.5 is what New Orleans cannot score, and the Bucks need to bury. They need to win.
Score. Yes.
The Bucks can go all the way to the 3, based on what the Rams do.
Yes.
All right. Afternoon slate.
Chase Brown is questionable.
He is. Milton moved up for the Bengals, all because of that absurdity of the clock last week.
I'm amazed that he's even close enough to be questionable.
Yeah. 4 o'clock.
Just let him score.
Chiefs at Broncos.
Broncos minus 7.
Broncos minus 10.5.
Holy mackerel.
Chargers.
By the way, I've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row wrong. All right, good.
I don't blame you. This is ridiculous. Chargers at Raiders.
Chargers need to win.
They do.
Chargers minus 7.
Chargers minus 5.
Some of these are small.
So weird. Yeah. I don't know. Seahawks at Ramit. Rams need to win. Now they're playing Garoppolo. They're not playing Stafford. Rams are currently the 6th seed. They would drop to the 4 if they lose and Tampa Bay wins.
And Seattle's eliminated.
Seattle's done. Cooked.
They're playing Garoppolo.
They're playing Garoppolo.
Are they playing Puka Nakua? Kyron Williams?
I don't know why. I wouldn't play any of them if I were them. If you're not playing Stafford, why are you playing Nakua?
Why would you want to go to the 3 seed, though? You wouldn't want yourself to go down to the 4 seed.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't understand why they're not playing Stafford.
They need to win this game. Otherwise, you're playing Minnesota or Detroit.
You're exactly right. So just to understand, and this is the thing you're going to have to pick through if you are someone who's going to throw a little soft earned around. If you are the 3, you're very likely playing the Commies.
Which is no walk in the park, but it's not the Lions or the
If you're the
Vikings.
4, you're playing the Vikings or the Lions.
Yeah.
So Tampa Bay is going to be motivated to get to the 3. I'm surprised LA is doing what they're doing.
Tampa Bay needs to win, period. Tampa Bay,
They do.
They need to win regardless.
Yeah. But if I wonder if the Rams have the tiebreakers over them.
No, because
over
then they'd be
Tampa
locked
Bay.
into the 3rd seed, and they're not.
Yeah, you're right. They're not. I don't know. But if they win, they go to. If they lose,
Unless that what you just said might be true. Can we have? No, we don't have the G-Man. So if they have the tiebreaker
over the
Bucks, but not the Falcons, that's why they wouldn't be locked into the 3 seed.
They can't get to the Falcons though, because the Falcons are 8-8. The Rams they're 10-6.
Oh, so then they don't have the tiebreaker.
Obviously not, or else they would already be the 3.
Correct. So then I don't know what they're doing.
I don't either. Either way, they're playing the Seahawks in Los Angeles. No Matt Stafford. Jimmy Grapes.
The Rams would clinch a 3 seed with a loss or a tie versus Seahawks. The Rams clinched the number 3 seed. What does this make any sense? 2 days ago, with a loss or a tie versus the Seahawks. It must be miswritten. It must be a win.
Got to be a win or a tie, yeah.
Rams currently hold the 3 seed. Here, this is from NFL, the Rams.com. Yeah, it sounds like if the Rams lose and the Bucks win, the Rams are the 4 seed.
I don't know what they're doing.
Why you need to win this game?
I would agree.
Anyway, that being said, Seahawks -3.
Seahawks -6.5.
What are we doing? They're just throwing this game?
I guess. By the way, I think McVay, here's a lean for the scores. I think McVay lets Garoppolo eat. Like, I think they're going to try. Like, why would they not try, even if they're playing all backups?
Why?
I don't know.
Siciliano
would know. He's got to know.
Yeah.
Get to the bottom of that.
Let me get to the bottom.
In the meantime, Dolphins at Jets. Could be your boys' last game in New York.
Dolphins -7.
Dolphins -1.
Okay. This is the worst performance in the history of the score.
Dude, that's what I told you. Throw it out. You can't count this. 49ers at Cardinals.
No Purdy.
He's out?
I think.
Why would they play him?
His elbow.
Oh.
He has a nerve issue.
That makes sense then.
Could be Josh Dobbs.
Okay.
Revenge game.
Josh Dobbs' revenge game.
Against the Cards.
Kyle's going to try.
Cards -3.
Cards -4. Finally, Vikings at Leos.
Okay, a real game.
Real game.
Lions
really two real games.
Lions -3.
Got it. So I will say on the real games, all the rest is nonsense.
Real games. Bengals at Steelers is a real game.
Vikings at Lions.
Vikings at Lions is a real game.
That's it.
Jeez Louise.
That's it. There's not another game where it matters to both. That's tough sledding,
That's
brother.
a tough week 18.
It's what I told you. Remember over holiday I was talking about this. There have been a bunch of teams at the bottom of this league that have off-roaded.
Yeah.
And for the NFL, in the last week of the regular season, to have 2 games truly matter for both teams, that's not right.
Nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah. But that's the realities of it. Bailey Zappe could start. You'll hear from him coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Fill your game day cooler with the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Fresh, smooth, real brewed tea. 5% kick of alcohol. Look for the bright yellow cans. Twisted Tea. Keep it twisted. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly. Now we head to the podium, presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Here is Bailey Zappe.
So have you been told that
You're down.
what your role will be here Saturday?
No, sir. I have not been told on whether who's starting, who the 2 is, who the 3 is, none of that. I'm sure Stefanski's still, deciding who that is, and he'll tell us whenever, obviously, he sees fit.
Bailey, I know this was an offense that you said you had a little bit of familiarity with coming in.
Yeah.
But can you kind of quantify or describe how much more comfortable you are from when you came in week 8?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm more comfortable. There's some things that Dorsey obviously brought in whenever he came in here that I didn't have whenever I was with AVP, some different verbiage stuff that I had to learn over the last few weeks, but pretty much got all that down. There's no anything that I could think of that I don't know in this offense, really. But Dorsey and Nash have done a great job of, staying with me after practices, after meetings, and just kind of getting extra work with me to kind of get that stuff down pat.
Splitting some time with Dorian in some way, shape, or form. So how do you feel about knowing that you're going into this game with an opportunity to get some?
Yeah, obviously it's a great opportunity. Personally, I kind of look at it like I'm on a one-year deal here. I have no idea what the future holds for me. And it's a great opportunity for me to go out there, play some football, and get some film on it, for people to watch. Hopefully it's good film, but I'm excited for the opportunity.
Is there any effect going into a game, not knowing what roles are going to be, trying to prepare for a game, and you don't really know if you're going to play or how much you're going to play if you can start the game?
I don't know if he's going to get mad, but, I was in New England for 2 years, and Bill kept everything secret. So sometimes I wouldn't find out till like Thursday night, Friday, like, hey, just like playing Sunday. So I'm used to it. I just prepare like I usually prepare, whether I'm the 3 or the 1, and that's what he taught me whenever I was there. So I'm gonna keep doing that.
You've been able to do in practice in your time here has maybe helped prepare you for the opportunities, things that you've been doing both on the practice fields and in the meeting rooms.
Yeah, obviously taking the scout reps versus the number 1 defense. I think that's a big thing. I'm going against Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett, Denzel, MJ, the safeties we have, linebackers we got. I'm going against those guys every day on the scout side. So, obviously the coaches have liked what they've seen the last few weeks. So just excited for this opportunity.
Is Kevin told you when he's going to let you know?
No, sir.
No. How would you describe, you get 8 starts in those 2 years in New England, and then this year haven't played yet. So, how do you deal with that emotionally as a player, trying to keep yourself ready and trying to get that next shot?
Yeah, obviously you don't want that to happen, but, it's part of the NFL. And when opportunities like this present themselves, you just got to go out there and take advantage of them. Those 8 starts, there's a lot of things I did good and a lot of things I did bad. So it really just learning from those mistakes that I made and applying that to this next opportunity that I have and just taking advantage of it.
Since you mentioned Bill and since you know it well, where do those kids out there?
Look, he's going to win. He's the greatest coach of all time. I think there's no denying that. But besides, when the cameras are on, he has a great personality. He has great humor. So I think he's going to fit in just fine. But those guys, whoever goes there, they just got to be ready to play some football. He's all about ball. So if you're all about ball, that's the place to be. That's his recruiting pitch.
What does that mean for you for the future? You mentioned you don't know what comes next. What does that uncertainty like for you?
It's kind of nerve-wracking because you don't know where you're going to be at. But I feel like some of the things that I've done in the games that I have played is good enough to continue my career further on. Obviously, I don't know where that's going to be at, whether it's here, whether it's wherever. I'm sure after this week I'll get with my agent. We'll go from there. Obviously, I like to be here. I like it here. I've made a lot of great relationships here. If that doesn't happen, then obviously I wish everybody luck here, but I'm excited.
Jerry had a career high in targets and catches last week, and you don't know about David yet, but Sed's on IR, so it's not like you don't have your number 2 and number 3 receivers. How do you envision working with the top guy when that's where everyone thinks you're going to be looking, basically?
Yeah, obviously Jerry's one of the best receivers in the league. There's certain things that defenses are going to try to do to stop him. And I think Dorsey and Coach Stefanski are going to do a good job of kind of moving him and kind of just creating opportunities for him to get the ball. And obviously we have guys like Elijah Moore and Blake Whitehart and the rest of the guys. Those guys are going to step up, obviously, and Elijah's done a great job this year too. So I'm excited for all those guys to get their opportunity as well, and hopefully I can get them the ball and they can run with it.
Turnovers have been a huge problem for quarterbacks, the offense. How can you go in and maintain your aggressiveness and also just be smart with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that I've learned over my 3 years is, mentally you can't really go into a game thinking like, I don't want to turn the ball over, because the more you think about it, the more likely it's going to happen. So if it happens, it happens. You just got to continue to move on and just kind of learn from it and make sure it doesn't happen again. And make sure one doesn't turn into two and two turns into three. So really just think touchdowns when you're going in there, and hopefully that happens more.
All right, there you go. And perhaps a starter will be known at some point this afternoon. I'd bet on 308. Hey, Dog Pound, dig into Wendy's new Browns Biggie Bundle all season long. Score a junior bacon cheeseburger, 4-piece snug, junior fries, small soft drink, and small frosty. It's just $7. Here we go, Brownies. Grab one at any participating Wendy's for a limited time. Your mailbag is coming up next. Dr. Z, you excited?
I am.
We're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Join Barking Backers, the fan club for dogs, presented by Milkbone by January 19th to fetch an invite to our Smooches and Pooches event. View membership options and join today at barkingbackers.com. Time for the mailbag. It's presented by the Cross Country Mortgage Company, the official mortgage partner of your Cleveland Browns. When it comes time to financing, they're always going to get you home. Visit ccm.com today. Equal housing opportunity, NMLS 3029. Hello, Gibby.
Gentlemen, hi. You can tweet your questions to @Browns_daily. Do it from now till about 2:50 today. Jade McCray leading us off.
Let's go, Jade.
What are some of your favorite games to play, either cards or otherwise? I'm a big fan of all forms of rummy, 500, poker. Also, have you guys ever played Code Names? Can be played
What is
remote
it?
via the
What's
website.
Code Names?
Highly
Do you know what this
recommend.
is? No. What Code Names is?
No.
I've never heard of Codes. Have you? I got
No,
nothing
she
on
sent
Code
a link.
Names.
Is Codenames kind of like password, whatever that one where it beeps and you have to pass it along and all those things?
Okay. I've not played that. I'll look into it. It's funny. Our family this break has been a lot of board games. So we did the farming game, a couple of epic battles of the farming game, and then when we stumbled into Mega Monopoly, that was a bit of a game changer with skyscrapers and bus depots. And
We wanna get
the
that.
You would
I'm
love it.
interested in it.
Well, they have it at the
Yeah.
toy store in downtown Chagrin Falls. You'll see it there, and give some patronage to that fine gentleman that operates that joint. So those ones are great as card games go. With the kids, I do like. They love like Texas Hold'em. Love it. That's a big win. Big Uno. Love Uno with the kids. They love an Uno.
Sure.
That's a win. When I was younger, I used to adore Trivial Pursuit. But I don't know.
So
If
good.
I
don't
love
know
it.
people playing it anymore.
I love it. I think that's great. I miss that tremendously. And that's probably the extent of it. I play chess against the boys. We'll do that.
Anybody good?
NBC. NBC can hang. He can. NBC beat me once.
Bryce was real legit for a while when
Yeah,
he was like
locked
playing
in.
every day. He was
Yeah.
on chess.com and learning. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
all right.
like, oh, okay.
And then I had to get books and I had to start studying to be able
That's
to
fun,
hang
though.
with
I
them.
like
But it
that
is
one,
fun.
though.
It's a great game. It starts the same way every time. And then it is good. So I had written down euchre, Pedro, which I don't play as much
What's
anymore.
Pedro?
It's kind of like euchre, but it's more strategy, better.
Okay.
So it's like you bid. Fives are the Pedros, so both fives in the same color of whatever ends up getting called. Those are each worth 5. Then the ace is 1, the 2 is 1, and the 2 can't be beaten. Like you play the 2 and you automatically get to keep it. I think Jack and 10 are the other points, and it adds up to 14. I think that's right, or maybe it's 13. I think it's 14. Anyway, something like that. So everybody gets dealt out the cards. And you look and you try to figure out what you and your partner can get. So it's a partner game, 2-on-2.
Okay.
And so, like, for example, if you played the ace, you called the suit. Let's say you called spades. You played the ace. You're assuming, like, if you have an ace and a 2 in your hand, the 2 you automatically keep. The ace is worth 1, and then you're assuming your partner is going to have a 5. That's just the way you bid. So you bid 7, 8, 9, but you only get to call it if you bid.
Okay.
If it goes around and nobody bids, it goes to the dealer's forced. So their strategy, you always protect the dealer for 6, and then if you don't get your bid, you go negative that number. And if you do, you get, and it goes up 50.
I think it would have to be something you'd have to show me with the cards. Yeah.
Good strategy game, and people who know how to play, like when to go offsuit, it's the cards matter, but like in euchre, I'd say it's 90% cards, 10% if you know what you're doing, and if everybody you're playing with really knows how to play the game, it's 100% cards.
Yeah.
Pedro is probably much more strategy than you got to have the cards, obviously, but there's the play around is much bigger, the margins than 10%. Sorry, we love playing Sorry. Sorry is a game of great violence. It really is. It is a ruthless game. Aggravation is fun. It's kind of like Trouble, except it's dice, and you go around the board, and you got to get them in exactly. And
okay,
it's less violence because it's more just kind of where your thing rolls, and that's how when you knock somebody out and send them home. We enjoy Life. Life's actually a very
Life's
fun
great.
game. Yeah.
The old one, though. The new one, it's too easy. Everybody's rich.
No,
in the old one, there was real penalties.
You had to work.
And you had to work for it a little bit.
Exactly.
We got I had the old one. I loved that as a kid. The new one, though, it's a little too easy to be rich.
You can be a winner at the game of life.
It's fun.
Uno, you mentioned. Danger Words, another one we like.
Another one, yeah.
I think it's an Ellen DeGeneres game. It's sort of like cards, a 2-on-2. So you'd have the card, and you have to give one clue, and they have to try to guess the exact word, and then it goes back and forth till somebody gets it.
Till somebody gets it.
And then there's a danger word that's similar to it, and if you say that, you get an X and 3 X's, and you're out.
Okay.
Cards Against Humanity is always great, but only with appropriate audiences.
That's right. Yep.
And then you said chess was awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, chess is a great game.
Preston tweets at the show. He said, I have a fact and a question. Fact, the shortest game in MLB history was 51 minutes.
Jeez.
Between the Giants and Phillies in 1919. Game was so short because everybody wanted to catch a train. Question, if you were the
So baseball can play that short if they want.
Clearly.
Yes.
If you were the college football czar, how are you setting up college football playoff to make it watchable? I don't know what that means.
I'm eliminating the buys just for the conference winners. The top 4 teams, top 4 seeds get buys. That would be to me the easiest fix.
All right. This isn't really that hard. You eliminate you right now college football starts in week 0. So they start the weekend before Labor Day. No, the weekend before Labor Day. They play 2 games.
Okay.
Play the entire week 1 that weekend. So you're moving the entire calendar back 1 week. So you move it all back or up, I guess, depending on your perspective.
Okay.
You're going to start week 1. So Labor Day would actually be week 2.
Okay.
Okay. Eliminate conference championship games. They're done. They don't mean anything anyway. So now the Ohio State-Michigan game would be played the Saturday before Thanksgiving. Like it used to be. Then everybody takes off Thanksgiving except for Army-Navy. Army-Navy plays Thanksgiving Saturday by themselves. The NFL has that weekend. You're off. You're done. The next weekend, the first weekend, by the way, you do the Heisman that weekend too, although that's a whole other conversation. You probably should move that to the end of the year after all the playoff. The next weekend, the first weekend in December, that is when you start your college football playoff. You play a 16-team playoff, 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15, 3 versus same way you always would. You're going to have blowouts. Sometimes blowouts happen. There aren't that many great teams, but it'll start to even out over the years. You play the first weekend of December. The second weekend of December are your quarterfinals. Your semifinals, you give it a little bit of a break. Semifinals are at the Rose Bowl and one of the other BCS sites on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. One of them's New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, or you can do the Rose Bowl at 5 o'clock and one after it. And then you play the national championship game the following Saturday. 10 days off, you play it that night, and you're done. Boom. Fixed. I haven't given it much thought.
No, clearly not. It felt like it was just like kind of seat of your pants planning right there.
The time off in December allows for the transfer portal in December to be open when you're not playing games. It allows for the signing day if they want to keep it there. It's really not. It's 1 week and just eliminate conference championship games. And the people who will be pissed off are the television executives with the conference championship games because they paid for them, but they can be given back, make good in the term of in the means of first round playoff games, which will have much more value than an ACC championship game or a Big 12 championship game would have.
Yes. So you're saying no automatic bids for conference winners then? It's just the top 16 teams?
Top 16 teams.
A little Bobby time. He sent me a bunch last week. We didn't
get today. Bobby!
So let's get to him now. What's the most ridiculous thing you would buy if you were given $1 million?
It's the most ridiculous thing I would buy if I had $1 million.
And I had no other worries. It was just me living my life, and I could, here's some money. Go buy something you want. Probably like an absurd sports car that I've always wanted. Like I didn't have to worry about anything. 911 Targa. Bounce around in that a little bit.
I honestly would probably just not buy any one thing. I would use it
But if you had to buy one thing.
It could only be one thing?
You can only buy one thing.
You don't have to spend the full $1 million, but one extraordinary purchase.
I would buy whatever $1 million worth of flight hours on a Peach.
That's pretty good.
If it's just like free.
Yeah, you'd get a lot, like little net jets, marquee jets. You could get a lot for $1 million.
What did Russell Wilson give all of his offensive linemen? Didn't he give them? He gave them like for Christmas. They all got a like $100,000 Airbnb gift card.
That's pretty good. That's a lot of Airbnb.
A lot of Airbnb.
I might be way off on that, but he gave him some enormous Airbnb gift card.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. I don't have a problem with that.
I want to know if the final number of that is closer or further from Lamar Jackson's actual passing yardages in his first 16 games versus what we were told.
What we were told, yeah.
Sorry, $10,000.
That's a little bit more.
Well, turns out farther away, actually.
Yeah.
That's a multiple of 10. He was about a multiple of 2.
You gave him a $10,000 Airbnb gift card.
That's very nice.
As soon as I said, I'm like, 100,000, that doesn't sound
I tell you what, Purdy buying those guys all those cars, which equal more than he made. I know he's got a lot of endorsement deals, but
I think he has a deal with that brand, though, so I wonder how much of it came out of his back end.
It's good marketing for them.
Very good,
It's talked about quite a great deal.
What is your funniest high school memory?
Nothing possible
Not for air.
Not for air. Sorry, Bobby.
Not for air.
Not for air. Or if my children are listening.
Boy, I can't ask that,
man.
Bobby.
You
What's
know
something that's not illegal that feels illegal? Well,
Same.
What funny saying would be written on your tombstone to describe the life you lived?
Act accordingly.
Either oh baby.
Oh, baby. I like that.
Oh baby.
Here lies Nathan Zagura. Oh, baby.
Oh baby. Glorious. Or, well,
I have an idea.
How about it?
I'll tell you in the break. I have an idea for you how I want you to be
You want me to be
rested
remembered?
Eternally. Yeah, I have an idea.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you were a sitcom character, what would be your catchphrase?
Oh baby.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's so funny. We have things
Which
that have
is
been
stolen
said.
from Cardona, by the way. He's the first person I ever heard just
Oh, baby.
throw
Yeah.
baby around to everything, and I just loved it.
It's so good.
It's perfect.
We've had so many things that have catchphrases that have happened organically on the show that sometimes I forget. Like they take over for like you did on every level. Like that was huge last
every
year.
level. Oh,
we
my
were
God.
on every leveling everything.
In
We
December,
did it.
Irv did it.
We
He
Irv did it.
recorded
We
a
had
video
it.
for us.
So like we have these things that like take off, and then you new things. You're always
We're always
always
reinventing
evolving.
ourselves.
Yeah, right.
We're like Madonna or Chris Jericho, always reinventing ourselves.
Madonna and Chris Jericho. That's the.
He's great. He's great at reinventing himself.
Just those two, though. That's
Those
amazing.
two.
Madonna was like, yeah, reinvent a lot. I mean, one point
Yeah.
playing acoustic guitar. Who knows?
Yeah.
I just didn't expect Chris Jericho to be on the other end of that. That was good. Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Zach tweets at the show, if you were to switch places with Miles for one game, you only have his physical body, but you have your Nathan/Bo current day pass rush skills. How long would it take for coaches to notice? One play, one drive, one game?
Hold on. I have his body, but
we've never
But you had
practiced
your
rushing
pass
passer.
rush skills.
Yeah, but I think he's.
I think when he walks
transcendent.
off the bus, they go, well, this guy should play 45 snaps. That's what I think.
But he's saying like,
How
funny
long
would it be
before you're found out?
Yeah, that it's at you're inhabiting Miles's body. That it's not Miles in Miles's body.
Oh, because of like we'd be incompetent?
Yeah.
Oh,
I feel
probably-
like he's kind of gifted. Like you'd. I think by like the end of the game, you would figure out at least how to run around somebody and bend. He does things
Yeah.
like that. Like that would be. It's like being Iron Man all of a sudden.
We've watched him enough to be able to say like
Oh, I'm gonna
to
do-
see
try
what it
this.
looks like. I think it would be fun to like try that.
Yeah.
The most fun one of those is like if you to me is always the basketball one. If you could like inhabit LeBron's body like in 2010 when he was peak, like what would that be like to just dunk whenever you want and go downhill whenever you want?
Be great.
I mean, that to me is the one where it would be that. There's some golf ones too, but that doesn't seem like it's as physically.
Yeah.
Like being LeBron, peak LeBron is like the most physical, dominant athlete
Yeah.
juxtaposed to his competition I've ever seen.
I would have liked to be like peak Russ.
Westbrook?
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
there's
was,
another
like,
one.
He was unreal.
Yeah, just a bowl. I mean, just it had so much athleticism. Yeah. All right, there you go. Good job out of you guys on that. So much more to come. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Tune in tonight, 7 to 8, for the Kevin Stefanski Show on the University Hospital's Cleveland Browns Radio Network. Coach and MJ going to join Z and Gerard to preview Saturday's matchup with the Ravens. Wow, we have college football this afternoon, rescheduled. Sugar Bowl game.
Yeah. College football, Nate's got Georgia advancing in a close one, but college football, Nate really likes the Golden Domers.
I find it odd that this moved 2 points because it was 1 Georgia yesterday, and now it's – is this accurate for now? Like right now, it's Notre Dame 1?
I'll double-check it, but that
They're
was
favored?
about an hour ago.
Oh, then maybe college football Nate's just going to say, I'm going to go with my heart. Golden Domes.
Yeah, I want to say it was 1 –
it's ND minus 1.5.
Okay, so it switched 2.5.
So something's going. You can't just. They knew the quarterback.
So there's a lot
wasn't
going on
playing.
at Georgia. Kirby Smart's dad fell yesterday on Bourbon Street, or not on Bourbon Street, on Canal Street outside the hotel, and broke his hip. And so that's happening. There's a lot going on with Georgia. I just think they've been in the spot so much.
Yeah.
That they'll.
How could you? Notre Dame Penn State would be a Final Four game.
That's where we're headed, brother. I think it's a rock fight. What's the over/under? 45 and under. I think to me it feels 1916.
All right.
I think it's going to be that type of game. Travis Etienne at Georgia can play the running back. So
He's also named Travis Etienne.
Pretty sure, or Trevor Etienne. Might be Trevor.
Might be Trevor. Still,
yeah. Either way, close.
Period. Etienne.
Absolutely.
Are they related?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Next level coming up next. We're back tomorrow. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.